What?
I gotta post that one
Nah, bro. Sound crazy in the headphones too. For them in the
day.
stew.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm DJ Envy or something, bro. What?
Yeah.
Told my girl just like a day trader, I need some support. Me and Wolf giving game out for free, we don't got a course. Told my girl I'm too
Got a
busy on the
course.
charts, I don't play a sport. I make candlesticks move on the screen, I don't need the force. If the video hit 94 a share, I'ma rob the plug. Told my mama I need her that $50, I don't need a hug. Hoping already got.
Man, listen.
Man. I can't wait till we up and we
Bruh.
get to do that fun music rap with the stocks. I was thinking about that this weekend.
What? I don't think they're ready for that one. No cap.
They really not. They really not, bro. What's up, my dog?
Chilling, brother. What's the word, man?
Another day, bro. Another dollar. Welcome back, everybody. Another episode. We here. We're live. Talking about it. Well, we not. Are we live? No, we're not live.
No, we're not live. We're not yet. Not yet, at least.
Not yet. Not yet. Facts.
Yeah, man. It's been another interesting week. I mean, stocks haven't been horrible. It's still volatile in a way, but hey, the show must go on. I guess that's what they say.
Show must go on, man. We got some crazy news throughout the week too. We had Nvidia getting $500 billion to themselves already. Man, we got all the neo clouds, the core weaves, the Nebulouses. They ran up this week. It's gonna be a good talk today, bro. Real rap.
For sure, bro.
But,
for sure.
Hell yeah. Let's start off, bro. So boom, S&P back at all-time highs. We just made a new all-time highs this week. Feel me? And people within the market, I feel like, are feeling real good about it, but we talked about it numerous times. A lot of people don't really feel that well too. And a lot of people are actually just feeling kind of broke. They don't feel the benefits in the market and it being at all-time highs and all these companies rallying up to 30-50% of the week. So
Yeah.
I feel like conflict of interest. Everybody feel broke, but markets are at all-time highs. Like who's lying here? You know what I'm saying? Who's not really telling the truth? Or is there anybody lying? Maybe it's a tale of two stories, What's your thoughts?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of both, bro, because one thing we always talk about is like, we talk about financial literacy, right? And we talk about how stable are you financially. And that can mean investments, savings, when you put money up in different vehicles. So if you're one of those people that only works, then you're probably feeling it. Even though you might be 401k rich, you can't touch that money till you're a certain age. So if you only dependent on the paycheck, you probably are feeling it right now, especially with your expenses getting more expensive due to inflation. But if you somebody that's also in the stock market, you probably got a side hustle, you working, you got something that's giving you the recurring investments. Then you're probably like, you know what? Even though everything in the economy is kind of like shit right now, but the market's doing good, I think I'm all right. And then when everything does get better, I'm gonna be in a better spot. So it really just depends on your perspective of where you at in life right now. I think that's kind of what it is. I don't really think about lying, but I think it goes back to like, where are you financially?
Nah, that's a fact. I agree with that, bro. I think a lot of people, kind of see the things, the awesome stuff on social media. You got so many people that's promoting their trading group chats or their year to dates on their portfolio. So a lot of people are kind of taking it like, damn, that's not me. I don't got that. But like you said, they may not just not be there at a financial journey. Maybe they're focused on building up the 3 months worth of expenses before getting into the market. So
Mm-hmm.
but also at the same time too, even the numbers are showing that people are dialing back a bit, but it's in different places. Like we had retail sales data come out this week, and they was talking about that we started off at plus 7.3% of retail sales up in May, but it's been declining ever since then. So June we had 6.7% retail sales, and in July we had 5.0% retail sales. So people are cutting back on certain things, but it's on the smaller things. So like the biggest thing that cut back was online sales. I fell 2.2% ever since May. So
Mm.
I think, like you were saying, people kind of are seeing all that stuff was going on, and like people having these crazy portfolios and things like that. But I'm thinking maybe it also shows a sign of like people focusing on what matters because they don't really have the luxury of maybe buying the stuff that cart on Amazon they wanted to get and things like that. That's why
Right.
we're seeing that cutback in the online sales piece. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense. I mean, shoot, I'm one of those people. I mean, after this last couple of months, it was summer, a lot of birthday parties, a lot of vacations. So you got to think about it. Like a lot of people in the beginning, like when summer first started off, they had a lot of stuff planned for the summer. But now you got to think about it. We're going back to school. People
Yeah.
probably want to save up for the school year. If you are going back to school, teachers going back. Um, the kids are getting ready to be back to school. So it's a lot of things that's getting ready to come to an end as far as that summer spending. Shoot, I had something in my cart from Amazon for like the last few months, and I still ain't buy it yet. I'm just like, do I really need it? And that's just the
Uh,
discipline that I have. But it's probably a lot of people that think like that. Like, man, I could buy it, but do I need to buy it in this moment? So you probably don't see a lot of that happen until everything started to get a little bit better as far as expenses.
that's a fact, bro. But like also, me and my girl had a good talk a few weeks ago because we was talking about like the people don't like CEOs no more, And I was having a
Mhm.
conversation with her. 'Cause in my opinion, I was saying that I feel like our generation isn't being encouraged to become innovators and like CEOs because of what the current like I guess you could say theme is placed around CEOs right now. Like, but we
Right.
had and remember back a few like what early 2025, we had a CEO get gunned down broad day in New York City. People were praising that.
Yeah, it's
So
wild.
and to be understandable, I think this ties back to like the affordability thing and how people will feel broke. Because think about it, Nvidia just gave Jensen Wong just gave himself $500 billion, and people can't
Hmm.
afford their groceries. So like, do you think there's ever that narrative is ever going to get fixed? Of like, you know what, if I can't afford my groceries, but they can have all these billions of dollars, why should I even why should I even invest in them if I don't believe that they deserve that money? You think that narrative will ever get like addressed or fixed or talked about? 'Cause people just got a lot of hate right now.
I mean, I guess there's two ways you could think about it. From anyone that's a capitalist, no.
Mm.
Because the same as that time, if you're invested in the stock market and you're benefiting from someone else's benefit, then it's like I want them to keep benefiting because now it's helping me. But if you're
Right.
somebody that's not involved in the market at all, and all you see is another headline of another CEO making billions of dollars for his company, then you're gonna be like, man, this is crazy, this is unfair, this and that. So those two perspectives, it just depends on who you are. For me, I mean, obviously I support, a capitalist market because I'm in the stock market and we're both benefiting from that. So yeah, I'm going to support him making $500 billion because I'm invested in the video. So if he makes $500 billion, then obviously I'm gonna see some type of return from that, hopefully as well.
Facts. I agree with that, bro. I agree. I think a lot of people don't realize that we're all like, even if we don't want to be, we're all capitalists because at the end of the day, that retirement account that's opened by our businesses, by our jobs, is buying every 2 weeks. So whether we like it or not, we're all capitalists. And is it a perfect system? No. But
Right.
the narrative that, just because Jensen Wong made $500 billion makes me more poor. I'm not getting that. I understand like the okay, like it's not fair, and obviously when you seeing, when you struggling to pay your bills, but there's someone around the corner driving a Rolls Royce, you're gonna feel away. Like, damn, how did I even? Why do they got that and I don't got that? But at the end of the day, it's not really hurting your pockets. Like I don't see how Jensen Wong or any other CEO, whoever, who was also working, that's their job at the end of the day, how their wealth
Right.
acquiring for their business that benefits us and our retirement accounts and our GDP growth as a country can be negatively portrayed. I don't think a lot of people understand what capitalism is and what being a capitalist looks like. You know what I mean? So it leads to that hate of like, damn, they got this, they got that. But at the end of the day, they need to get that. Because if they don't get that and they go to what I say, 90 for a share and rob the plug, let the video go to $90 for a share. People are going to panic. Its 401ks are going to be down 10, 20, 30%. So I think it's like you said, financial literacy. Now people don't know that. You know what I mean?
Nah, real talk. That's what's gonna come down to at the end of the day. It's like ignorance is bliss. So you know, if you don't want to learn it, if you don't want to understand it, then that's just don't. That's what it's gonna be. You know, at the end of the day, and you're always gonna have that too. So it's not like everyone could be satisfied. Everyone can't win. Everyone can't be satisfied. That's just life.
That's a fact. Everyone can't be satisfied. That's a fact. And that includes companies in the S&P 500, right? Because we found out too, starting on the 18th, we have in which company? There's a company coming out of the S&P, and they're adding in Reddit. And Reddit is, I mean, I see some numbers. They're a really solid business. I don't believe in the moat. But the overall question that came to mind was like, is it good that these companies and these index funds and these brokerages can just kind of remove and add companies at their will without really informing us who's like buying them? No, what's your thoughts? I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, I mean, like, I see it. I could get it, right? Because there is some companies, and I just want to let everybody know the company that they're replacing, it's AvalonBay. I don't think we ever really talked about them. But obviously they're not doing good enough because Reddit's about to replace them. So, and that's one thing that we as investors should appreciate about the S&P 500, right? If a company is not performing to its standard, they're going to remove that company out of there and replace it with a company that they think is going to perform even better. So, in a way, yes, I do think some people should have an opportunity to vote on what they think should be involved in the S&P 500, and that everyone should have their own amount of voting rights to be a part of that. But when you think about the success rate of the S&P 500 and all the decisions that they've made so far and the returns that they've had over the last however many years, does it really even matter? I don't think so. Because if you just would have parked your money in the S&P 500 for the last, let's just say 20 years, you would have been up something crazy, family. And that's just simplifying it. Now, when you want to add everyone's opinions and voting rights and all of that, what the S&P 500 might have not performed the way it has. So I'm kind of okay with the way it is right now, but that's just me.
Nah, I agree. I'm just looking up exactly what you asked. How much you would have been up if you bought the SPY for the past 20 years? You would have been up roughly 732%. Like, that's crazy. Wow. That's
wild.
So yeah, I agree with you, bro. I think, you know, these companies, again, we got to remember there's fees that are associated with us buying into these ETFs and index funds. It's little not microscopic, but there's fees there. They're definitely a lot smaller than what they used to be back in like the early 2000s when, you know, people were getting robbed by these brokerages accounts. But now in today's world where these actual funds, either you're working with even Leopold, when Leopold had his thing going on, or back when you could still buy, what's her name? The lady that was saying Zoom going to like 1,000.
Kathy Wood.
Yep, we got Kathy Wood's ETF, like all these different ETFs and brokerages.
ARK Invest.
Yeah, ARK Invest. Yep, they all charge a fee, and we're paying them with this fee to do what's best and allocate our funds to the best companies in the world. So, yeah, the numbers don't lie. You feel me? 732%. Name another thing you can buy that's going to go up 732% in 20 years. You can't say real estate. You could say crypto, but that's a bigger bet. That's a lot more to risk. You can't gambling, okay, if you're lucky. I mean, there's a lot of trading cards thing going on right now. A lot of people are buying cards. Those will increase your value for sure. But if we're talking the best bang for your buck historically, it's the S&P. So I'm not mad at it either. But people hear Reddit and companies like that, and they're like, "What the hell? Why would I buy that?" Prime example. Oh, prime example, bro. Me and I was debating with my girl the other day. We was going over her individual account. You feel me? Her individual investing account, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we were rotating some positions because we had her buying into Google for a bit. She's still buying Meta. Those are like her two main positions in the individual account that we taking more risk in. And I was like, "Boo, I'm telling you, we gotta roll Google. Let's keep the position. Stop dollar cost averaging into it. Put that same bread and put it in the Uber." She's like, "Uber? No, fuck, boring. I won't buy no damn Uber. The hell is Uber doing?" I was like, "Boo, look at the balance sheet. Look at that. I don't care. What is Uber doing?" All right, okay, it's your money. Luckily, I was able to get her to get into Service Now. So she's buying Service Now right now with Meta. But
Clutch.
that's like a case study right there. That's 90% of the market. Reddit. The hell am I buying Reddit for? I can imagine how people are mad about that. All you see is Reddit in the forums, but they don't realize that they're growing crazy. I don't know what their exact margins are, but their numbers are crazy. Their moat, I don't like, but the numbers, their growth is crazy, and they are cheap compared to the growth they're having. But people don't care about that. For me, people just care about the name and what are you doing? And is it cool? That's why SpaceX goddamn IPO'd at $1.5 trillion, and it was making $18 billion of revenue a year. Crazy. Damn, I think you muted, bro. Nah, I can't hear you. Is it me?
What about now?
Oh, there we go.
Yo.
Good money.
Oh yeah. Now I said it's wild because I mean, I can see it. You know, if you don't understand it or if you just don't care about certain businesses, you're like, why is this being added here? I've never heard of this before in my life, and how is it going to benefit me? I get it, but you got to understand these people that's adding these different styles. They're professionals, and they have a good track record. So you got to just go with the flow until it's proven that they're not holding you down. When you do the math, 732% over 20 years, that's 36% gain a year when you average it
Oh
out.
my god, that's crazy.
It's wild. It's wild, family. If you do that consistently for 20 years, I mean, like, let's say, for example, my daughter just turned one. From her turning one, if I had her invest in the stock market, right, just for example, until she turns 20, hopefully by that time she's getting ready to graduate college. And we even put in, let's say we put in just $1,000 and never did anything. Let's do 1,000 times, what was it, 732%?
Yep.
That'd be over $7,000, right? And that's not even touching. We just made an investment and just leaving it alone. But if you invest consistently over that 20 years, that's a lot of money, family, that'll just build up. So the track record speaks for itself. We gotta just kind of enjoy the ride while we're there, right? You have the option to invest in other things. So just let them do their job over here. Let that be your baseline, is they have a proven track record. And then if you want to do something else, do something else. But their track record is definitely good.
Good, man. It's good. It's never been proven wrong yet. Knock on wood. And
Right. Yeah.
also a lot of people also are like, the stock picking is good. Like the stuff Mike and I do, like it's fun, it's good. We enjoy it. We love looking at companies and analyzing the charts and looking at their balance sheets and all that, right? But if you don't want to do that, don't let IG fool you. Don't let IG, I'm buying this stock, I'm buying that. Literally just buy S&P. You'll be 9 times out of 10, you'll be in a good position. So
right.
Y'all keep that in mind. But at the same time, there's also a bunch of people who still believe that putting their paychecks in stocks is just too risky for them. Now, and I get it because we got different. We both got different risk tolerances. So I think you got more risk tolerance than myself. So from your
Yeah.
perspective, like what is that? Is it really risky, or is it riskier to not do it? I guess that's a better question.
That's a great question. That's the way to put it. To be
Mm,
honest, that's really the question of the day. It's probably more risky to not put your paycheck in the market. And that's just overall your overall 401k. You know
right.
what I'm saying, family? If at least do that. If you opt out of it, then you're tripping. You're tripping. Understand you may need every single penny that comes to you. But if that's the case, then you gotta find another way to get some type of money into your pockets because when it comes to you getting ready to retire, you don't want that number to look so small that you worked until you're 80 years old. That's the last thing anyone wants. And nobody wants to work until they're 65 either. So if you just go hard right now, you can retire early and at least enjoy the second half of your life. But not putting anything in there, oh my God. That's the
Well,
real risk.
mhm. That's the real risk, bro. And don't get me wrong, like investing in the stock market does come with considerable risk, but again, we are forced to get in there. There's no if it, even when we was kids and we turned 16, 17, 18, when I first got my what job was it? I don't even remember. But there are times when you get into a job, either you working at McDonald's as a server. They're gonna walk you through the benefits, have your 401 brokerage open. There's so many people who forgot about the old brokerage accounts at their old jobs. They got bread just sitting there because we're forced buyers. We don't think about that. So like
Yep.
I gotta agree with you. I think if you're not investing, it's riskier because you're missing out on the opportunity to, like you said, retire early, depending on how much you invest in and how regularly you do it. And also we have to think about inflation. Like inflation's
Yes.
crazy. I just did a real quick search to see what real
Mhm.
wage growth looks like. And this is pretty much like our actual wage growth compared to inflation. So like after inflation, how much has our wages increased over time? And
Mhm.
from it says here from the year over year change from July 2025 to July 2026 for real hourly earnings is negative 0.2%. So we are not like you're not making no bread. Even if you get raises, you're
That's
not
wild.
making no bread. Yeah, even
Yep.
if if you really want to get ahead and you really want to fight this inflation that goes on in the country, I think it has to start with the market. Now, do you have to throw everything you have in the market? No, you can do whatever you want. It's your money. But the
Exactly.
number shows that if you do something consistently, you will see a longer rate of return. Most of 9 times out of 10. So
Exactly. Exactly. We can't be short term looking either, fam. It's like you got to think about everything as far as this the market goes is long term. Unless you're looking to be a trader or someone that's just looking to capitalize short term because you just want to be ambitious. But that still goes back to you have to make sure that you're at least putting your paycheck in the overall market S&P 500. Because let's say if you do try to day trade and you mess up a bag, at least you have a foundation to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? If you only just try to trade and you have no foundation, now you're really looking crazy. So it's like no matter where you're at or what you're trying to do or what your goal is, you have to make sure that you at least have that foundation, which is putting that paycheck aside to invest in your future slash retirement. And we didn't throw
absolutely.
the disclaimer out there too. This is not financial advice, family. We are not your financial advisors. Please do your own research. Just got to put that out there.
Facts. Facts. Please do your own research. But the numbers show it works out. And I think a lot of people are fearful of it because they're like you brought up a great point. It's long term, it's not short term. And when we're talking about the stock market, we're talking about our thesis for the next 5 to 10 years. Like when we talk about the AI build out and these companies, whether it's Broadcom who's reporting earnings soon, Nvidia, or the neoclouds like Nebius and CoreWeave and all that, these companies are contributing to a long term build out. So we're thinking of investing and holding them for a long long time. We're not thinking 2-3 years out. We're thinking 5-10. So a lot of people, I feel like, kind of have, again, the social media effect. They're seeing the day traders and the swing traders hitting 30, 40, 50% in one trade, 150, 1,000% even, just like that. And we're forgetting that that's awesome. But you need a skill set to do that. If you don't have that skill set, you can still get those types of numbers by buying and holding for a long period of time, 5 to 10 years. Even fuck this. Even my family just came up. I made a post about it, but my family just came up. And they was visiting for a bit. They going up to Maine to visit one of my dad's former co-workers, good friends. I forgot. I set up my OG's portfolio in early, like the beginning of 2025 to dollar cost average in certain stocks, right? I had them buying into Google, Nvidia. Yeah, it was Google, Nvidia. There was another one, bro. I had to buy a couple of things, but really, like, that's Amazon. I think those were the main ones: Google, Nvidia, and Amazon. And Starbucks. I had them guys into Google, Nvidia, Amazon, and Starbucks back in early 2025. That's buying shares, $2 a day, something like that. He was up 63% year to date. Not from last year, like this year to date. Just from shares, no buying nothing, just buying shares of strong companies. And now he's saying, yo, like, what's next? So I got him buying into Meta, Oracle, and Microsoft. He's already up 20% on all three of those. See? So, like, you don't gotta take that route if you don't have that skill set yet. If you want that skill set, that's why you got people like us who can, is here to educate on that. But if you don't, do your own research, say financial advice, but the numbers show it works out.
Hey man, it's crazy, and it's not rocket science. Like you just said, it's working for him. You put pretty much the same exact stock sets in like the top 10, top 20 of the S&P 500. You just copy the same exact thing to kind of maximize your return. So that it goes back to also the other topic that we spoke about, which was letting the people that's managing the S&P 500 do their job. And then if you want to also get more aggressive, you can literally mimic what they're doing and maximize your return. If the top 10 holdings in the S&P 500 is the Facebooks, the Apples, the Nvidias, Googles, then buy those separately too, right? Now you're not only making 36% a year over 20 years, you're probably making 50, 75% a year. Well, not saying you will, but I'm just speaking hypothetically, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're really maximizing your return. So it's wild how easy it could become when you just literally follow the blueprint and follow the money.
That's it. Follow the blueprint, follow the money, bro. That's all it takes. But there are some people, though, who want to stop the money. They don't want the money to flow. That's the Feds. For me, the Feds, the rules came out that 3 Fed officials officially have voted to talk about raising rates. And we just had a CPI report, which is pretty much tracking all the stuff that we buy on an everyday basis to see if they gone up in prices. And it actually came back flat. Everything came back flat for core CPI, which excludes energy and food, and normal CPI. So, and the market was expecting either that flat number or higher. So it came out flat, which is a good sign. But 3 Fed officials still want to raise rates. One of them was Hammock, Kashkari, and Logan, all voted for a hike. Now, what do you think, bro? You think the Feds are they right? Are they seeing something that we're not seeing?
I think those Fed officials are probably still going off of old data. And I think one thing they're not considering is I think they're not considering how real the AI build out is going to be. Like, we're so early. We're really so early, fam. When you think about it, all of this started when OpenAI came out with ChatGPT, which was what, 2023? Early 2023, 2022? It's been 3 years. The real build out really didn't start until probably a year after that. So we technically about 2 years into this, right? A data center alone, all these data centers being built takes about 5 years to be built. So we haven't even really saw the benefit of anything yet. All we're seeing is money being put into the AI build out. I think we need to let this thing kind of brew a little bit and see what really happens because everyone always talked about jobs will be lost. We're going to have to pay extra money because of the data centers being built up, which all could be true. But they also had the same exact fears when the railroads went up and when machines started to be built. And they thought everyone was going to lose their jobs back then in the early 1900s. And what happened? More jobs were created off of that, even though there were fears. So you kind of got to have the same you kind of have the same mindset in a way because yes, it could be bad, but in the same exact way, it could help a lot of people out too. And as far as the production piece, we're going to be getting a lot of things done way faster when you think about us using AI. So the productivity pieces, I think, is the most important. And then also, I'm hearing that even like some of these data centers, even though yes, it could be bad for a lot of places, however they want to put it, it's helping a lot of communities out because now you put a data center up in the middle of nowhere. First of all, you probably getting an extra 1,500 people to go into that community, which means more money going into more taxes being paid into that community. Them people might have to be there for another 5 years to help benefit that community in a way because now more people don't be living there, housing, all of that. So it is in a way it's still a benefit for certain places too. So it's like all the negativity that we see about it that's what that makes people and it makes some of these Fed officials want to raise rates. I think we just gotta just wait and see, and also see how Fed Warsh is going to go ahead with the what's the group that he has that's going to be. He said he
Oh,
has
the
some type
task
of group.
force.
Yeah, the task force. I
Yeah,
haven't. Is there any news about that yet? Because I don't think he's. I don't think they really did anything yet because it's still early.
yeah, they haven't. That's the thing with Wars. He really like blacked out the Fed, so like they're not doing any forward guidance or anything like that. So we don't know anything about it until
Right.
the next meeting in September.
Right. Yeah. So it's like it's one of those things. I think we just kind of just try to wait and see. And them holding, they held rates at the last meeting. I think that was a good move.
Yeah,
Because if you raise rates, it's a little bit you're moving a little too fast. You're getting ahead of yourself. Let's let him do his job. Let's let him make the mistake. And if he makes a mistake, the way to correct it is raising rates. So, and just let him do his job for a little bit. Let's wait and see. And I think we're going to come out of this okay.
for sure. So you would definitely say that like AI is deflationary. Like it was going to play an effect at lower inflation.
I think it will, bro. I definitely think it will. It's just we gotta wait for all the spending and all that stuff to slow down, which could also be a downside. But
Yeah,
again, only time will tell.
fact. That's a fact. No, I agree, bro. I think definitely only time will tell, and that time could be a long time because again, we're going through another what I believe to be another revolution, just like the industrial revolution. We're going through an AI revolution. So this build out could really be 5 to 10 years plus. That's why I keep bringing them up. But that's why we see the Nebuses and the core weaves running up because even though they're doing a simple model of just providing compute and access to these chips to these other companies, there's so much demand for it that's going to be around for such a long time that Wall Street and other retail investors are buying into it. So I agree. I think there's definitely we need to let it sit out a little bit more, but we also need to realize like what's driving the current inflation right now. For the last CPI report, the biggest thing that was up in that report was energy. Energy was up
Mhm.
14.7% year over year. Everything else was relatively flat. So, what is energy? Gas, oil. What's causing that? Straight up from moves, beef with Iran, yada yada. So, the number one contributor to like these inflation reports being, well, in this case, it was flat, but if it were to ever be higher, it's because of one time, not a one, well, yeah, one time thing, because we're not going to
Yeah.
be in war. Goddamn, fingers crossed, we're not going to be at war for the next 10 plus years, 5 plus years.
Right.
So there's nothing
Right.
structurally in our economy that's causing that. It's outside factors caused by our leadership, allegedly, to get into
Mhm.
battles like this that cause inflation prices to commodities. So that's the only thing that's driving it. I agree. I don't think there's a reason to hike. And then even when you look at the current data, we're sitting at about really 2% inflation, which is the Fed's exact target they're trying to get to. So, and that's from current data, not the CPI that's looking at past data. That's current. What does inflation look like right now? So the reality is, I think holding's the way to go. And we got to think about how this is going to affect the consumer if we do increase rates. You know,
Exactly.
we got over $1.2 trillion of credit card debt in this country. Interest rates go up, those people's interest rates on those balances go up. You feel me?
Right.
So that's not going to look good for them on a month-to-month charging if we increase rates. And most of them are carrying what, $6 grand, $7 grand in balances. So what are we gonna do? What are they gonna do if interest rates increase? It's not gonna work out for them.
It's not. It's definitely going to be. It's going to be bad, right? Real bad. I feel like if they raise rates, and that's probably why they haven't raised rates, because the market is already sensitive. It's sensitive to anything. So, I mean, right now I feel like we're kind of bulletproof to the war news, but when you talk about rates, it's like, all right, now y'all pushing the wrong buttons. You raise rates, you talking about less people spending, borrowing money becomes more expensive. Small cap names are gonna dump off rip, and then a lot of these AI companies, they're borrowing money. With the ones that's not making any money, they're borrowing money. So if it becomes more expensive for them to borrow money, now they can't get all of the tokens that they need to also help the consumer use AI more. And if it becomes more expensive to even use Claude and all these ChatGPT models, then the numbers go down. And if the numbers go down, now everything just going to shit. So it's just the last thing that we need right now, especially if we're in this AI bull run. That'll kill the bull run instantly.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, you think so? I feel like I don't know, bro. I think. Well, yeah. Okay, never mind. Here's what I'll say. I think it will kill the market for sure. The market, we could see a correction level type of event if we were to see interest rates increase. Now, do I think it's warranted? I don't think so, because when we think about how, like, yeah, the Nebius is a core weakness of small caps and mid cap companies, they're definitely using debt to fund this out. But the big dogs that make up the majority of the market, they're using their cash flow. That's why everybody's so mad about it, because their free cash flow doesn't look good at the end of their earnings. But that's what they're using. You feel me? So we may see some damage into that, but at the end of the day, the market's still going to run the way it's supposed to run, because the big dogs are using their cash flows from their earnings. Feel me? So even if it does happen, knock on wood, this is not financial advice, do your own research. I think it's about a dip, because what changes? You know what I mean?
For sure. It'll definitely be a buy the dip moment, but we all know how leveraged this market is as well. So that just goes back to the Leopold part. Like, yeah, it'll be a buy the dip moment, but if everyone's leveraged and the dominoes start falling, it's going to keep falling until some big pockets come through to buy the market back up. So, and I think that's what I always think about too now. Like, with any type of big news that'll kill the momentum, everyone's going to be leveraged. And I don't think that'll ever change, because the more greedy people get, the worse it's going to be. And if you see the market hit all-time highs, that's just greed going all-time highs as well. And it's just never a good thing sometimes, especially when someone take your lace from out under you and you're just like, whoa, I didn't think this would happen.
Nah, you're not lying, bro. Like, right now, there's $1.4 to $1.5 trillion of margin in the stock market. That's wild. That's so crazy. Like, that's more than, like, bro, I think I said this before, but that's more than our net imports for GDP. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, absolutely right. When it rains, it's gonna pour. So
It's
yeah,
gonna
I got
pour, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing, like, and the way I think about everything, like, I didn't even have to look that number up, and I could already tell this is where we're headed out. This is where we're headed right now. Because
Yeah.
even myself, sometimes I see myself, putting in more than the 3% that I'm supposed to be allocating towards options. I do a little bit more because I'm like, yo, I know I'm good. But what if I'm not right? Imagine how many people are using 20, 50, 75% of their portfolio to get into a play to make a quick buck. Family, it's a lot of people out there doing that. A lot. So obviously I don't want that to happen, but if it does happen, just expect the unexpected and expect the worst to happen because it's the same as that time. You don't want to be caught off guard.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And honestly, I mean, I don't want anybody to lose money, but I think also like in order for a bull market to continue on, you need some of those people to get liquidated. I'm not
Yes,
gonna lie.
exactly.
It's messed up to say, call me a dickhead, call me whatever you want. I don't want nobody to lose money, but I'm just going off of how the rules in the market have worked throughout time. If you have that amount of leverage in the market that scales up time over time over time over time without any liquidation events happening along the way, when that one time event happens, it turns a 20% drop to a 50% drop. You don't want that for a whole index. Okay, individual
No.
stock, hey, that comes with a game. That's what comes with buying into individual stocks. But index, we don't want to end up like them kids in South Korea, where they're putting up life insurance policies. So it's sad to say, but that's why if you're playing that leverage game, that you're using debt to get into the markets, you gotta have some cash on the side to back that up. Because when that margin call happens, ain't no my kids, my house, my wife, ain't nothing. Where's my bread? This is gonna be the biggest. These institutions is the Debos out here, man. They're not gonna play with y'all. They're not.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it is healthy. It's the natural order of things. It has to happen. If it doesn't, then it'll get even worse. So if y'all want that track record to stay the same on the S&P 500 growing the way it is, these types of events have to happen because it gives everyone that clean slate after it. So it's almost like the slash and burn effect. I ain't no agriculture or agriculture, however you say it, professional, but
Agriculture, bro. Yo, yeah, okay.
but like, bro, it's just when it happens, if they slash and burn. I don't know if you learned about that in school.
Slasher, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know about photosynthesis and what was that called? The mitochondria and shit.
Bro, as you can see, that part of school, what I'm saying, we haven't really paid too much attention to that.
I
But
was at 82. I was in the smart class. I still ain't learned a damn thing, boy.
this dude, yeah. Hopefully, the professor, your teacher, ain't watching this.
Hey, damn, yeah, I definitely didn't become no scientist. Thank God. I would have.
Yeah,
Boy.
but it's real. Y'all get my point. Like, it's nature. It has to happen. Even in the market, every single topic has their own nature effect. So when people fail, someone else benefits from it, right? But when you think about the history of the stock market, there's always been some crazy failures. And what has happened over the market's been around for, they said, 300 years, damn near. But the real market, where it's S&P 500, been watching it a little over 100 years. It's always gone up, no matter what. Through all the scams, through all the wars, through all the COVIDs, it's always going up. So yes, it sucks, but that's the thrill of it, you know.
That's the
And as
thrill
long
of it,
as you
yo.
in it for the ride, for the long term, you're gonna be okay. Just have that dry powder ready to buy the dip.
Have the dry powder ready. Nah, that's a fact, bro. Damn, man. Hey, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in the market, y'all. But like we've been saying throughout this whole thing, this if you're thinking from a long term mindset, you'll be perfectly fine. You feel me? We got some earnings coming up this week too. We got Home Depot, Target, Walmart. We got Nvidia coming up, I think 2 weeks from now, which is gonna be really good for the market. So hey man, we'll keep y'all posted. Just think long term and you'll be fine. You'll be so fine.
Yeah. Also, too, what they said. They said the minutes published. So all the Fed stuff that's coming out. Jackson Hole, Ward's first keynote. That's
Oh,
August 27th to the 29th.
that's a fact.
Next FOMC decision. That's September 15th to the 16th. So just mark your dates for these days, especially if you day trading. Try not to trade on these days too much. If you're looking for a quick flip or some volatility, I mean, you can get it. Just be careful,
Absolutely, yeah. Play smart in these days. If you get your earnings, get your number early in the day before these reports come out, just take it and go. You definitely don't want to trade around, especially on FOMC day when they're talking about rate cuts or what's happening or rate hike. Yeah, that's a fact. It's a
Real
gem.
talk. Real talk, family. And hey, man, y'all see the QR code above me right there. Please scan it. That take y'all to our website, all of our links that we have. The Discord. I mean, the Discord is litty. We actually just gave out a Google trade, a swing trade for Google. Hopefully that do some numbers. We did some bounces on Google because I feel like Google's kind of going through it right now. I don't know why, but I think they could get a little bit more love.
Absolutely, man. It's the most vertically integrated business in the world. They're growing Google Cloud at 82%. Yeah, I like Google here for sure. You can't go wrong with them. You can't go a day without using them. You got Gmail, YouTube, Google Calendar. You can't go a day without using them. You can't.
Exactly. And like bro said, they're literally investing in everything. So it's like no matter what, they're gonna have their hand in any single pot. So it's just one company that I just don't think is gonna lose.
Nah, Waymo, Android. Oh, you can't. Nah, I love Google.
Waymo just got a new deal too. So
Yep.
that's another one. We literally just talking about he was at InvestFest with EYL and him. My boy was in a brand new Jaguar Waymo car, taking
Yeah.
I was about to say taking an Uber, but he's taking this ride through.
See, that's the thesis right there. That's the thesis. He was about to say Uber. I'm telling y'all, my fault.
Right. No, you're right. As soon as I said it, it went in my head like, dang. What is it called when you turn a word into is it a verb? No.
Oh, like when a word becomes I see what you're saying. Like
Google it.
When a word,
I think
like
it's
a
a
word
verb.
becomes. I think so.
Yeah. In a way, because it's like, yo, I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna ChatGPT it. Like anytime anytime like a company or word becomes that, then that's how you know it's a big deal. So it's like I might take an Uber. I mean, hey, it is catchy. I'm not gonna lie.
It's catchy. Nobody says Lyft. Nobody, it's gonna be Uber or Lyft. Some people gonna say. Nobody gonna say Waymo.
Yeah.
They're gonna Uber or automatic Uber or something like that. I don't know.
Why don't you just Uber over there? Like
you see,
yeah, it's wild. Hey, that's what it go down to though, fam. But yeah, man, you got anything else for the people, man? Before we head out of here?
Nah, man. Just think long term, not short term. Ride the waves. Don't let the waves ride you. And this. If you don't want to do the individual stuff, this is not financial advice, but historically, the ETFs like VOO or QQQ or even VTI have done very well.
For sure, family. I agree. Hey, definitely tap in with us soon. So we about to be in person with my brother.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? It's been a while since we was back in college. That was the last time we was really recording the show us in person. So it's been a while.
That's a fact.
Old as hell, boy.
Studio. What, man? It's done. It's over, Mike. It's over. The cleats is hung up. The basketball sneakers, the soccer cleats. God damn, what else? Everything's hung up, man. Everything.
So
It's
now,
over.
now it's just running shoes and yoga mats.
Yo, running shoes and yoga mats for sure. That's it. Maybe a little tennis shoe. We want to play some tennis, but that's it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Done.
It's crazy. Now I'm excited, family. I mean, yeah, we definitely gonna get y'all some new and improved content. As always, want to make sure that we just making it better for y'all, making it easier to understand, and making sure that you, any family or loved ones, is getting involved in the stock market, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to create more generational wealth.
That's it. That's it, bro. Yes, sir, y'all.
Yeah. But my brother, well, shit. Enjoy your Sunday, man.
Yes, sir.
Love, fam.
Love y'all.